Good evening, and welcome into 99 at 9. I'm your host, Casey Owens. Tonight on 99 at 9, we're going to look at Dick's Sporting Goods' newest refusal to sell assault rifles, smoking and its effect on pregnancy, and later we'll host a conversation about the national gun control debate. Dick's Sporting Goods CEO Edward Stack announced in an interview that Dick's will no longer be selling assault rifles. Stack explains the reasoning for this decision.
But when you look at those kids and their parents and the grief that everyone's going through, and we don't want to be a part of this story any longer. We actually sold the shooter a shotgun in November of last year. And we looked at that and found out that we did this. We had a pit in our stomach and said, we don't want to be a part of this story, and we need a responsibility to these kids. And we decided we are not going to sell these any longer.
We will continue to cover this story as we learn more information. A school district in Central Texas is now allowing some teachers and staff to carry guns, but Fayetteville Independent School District insists the decision has been in the works for months. The tiny district has only 286 students from kindergarten through 12th grade, and the town has no police department and thus no officers to station at the school. Fred Cantu has the story.
The tiny school district here is getting national attention for doing something President Trump suggested in the wake of the recent school shooting in Florida, and that is allowing some of the
Back to 99 at 9. We're still here with our guests, Tucker and Conrad. And we're going to jump right back into our conversation about gun control. So, gentlemen, my next question for you. Do you think that the solution for all of this is to completely ban guns and get rid of them? Since we started with you last time, we'll start with you, Conrad. What do you think?
No, it's not possible. It's not feasible. As long as the Second Amendment is still the Second Amendment, I don't even think there's a point to debating a complete ban, because that's the easiest way to completely shut down any discussion about, well, we've had so many school shootings, we need to do something about it. As soon as somebody says ban guns completely, no, all discussion is closed from both sides of the argument.
Right. What would you have to say about that, Tucker?
I agree. There's not going to be, if an extreme, you're not getting anything done. One side or the other, you're not getting anything done. The key is moderation, and the key is doing things. There are people that deserve and help us when they have firearms. I mean, there are policemen who are trained and have firearms. There are other people that protect their homes with firearms. Everything's about moderation and control and who we allow to have those certain things.
Well, do you think that we should do a better job of controlling who has access to these guns?
Very much so. I am 24 years old. I have a spotless background, thank you. And I could walk into Walmart today and pick up a gun just for kicks and giggles, just because I want to. And I don't think that's appropriate at all. I think there need to be at least a couple more levels of security before somebody can just say, you know what sounds like, honey, we forgot to get a gun. Can you pick one up on the way home? Like, that shouldn't be a thing in 2018 in America.
What about you, Tucker? Do you think that the restrictions should be a little bit more severe?
Personally, I have the opposite end of that spectrum. I do own guns. I have long rifles. I have shotguns. I have pistols. I have a concealed carry permit. So I have been through the process and the vetting process and the screening process that it takes to buy those. And, it does seem like it's an easy process, but you cannot walk into a store and immediately take home a pistol.
Even Statesboro Walmart.
No, you've got to go through. They run a background check on everyone everyone that tries to buy a gun. And yes, people that have a spotless background could still have a mental health problem. I do think it is harder to get a gun now than it was. And even still to register them, to get my concealed carry permit, I had my fingerprints are in the government system. I had to pass an even deeper background check, and it took 6 to 8 weeks before I was even allowed to carry mine on myself.
Really?
And so in the state of Georgia, to conceal carry, it is a very extensive process. It is looser when it comes to long rifles, which I don't necessarily think that is a good thing. I think with an automatic weapon that holds 15 to 20 rounds, if it was the same vetting process as a handgun, I think that would be just fine, honestly. That's where I take a more moderate approach than the further right-wing conservative side. But as far as that goes, I do think that the vetting process could be a little better. But as far as shutting it down, I don't think that's good.
Well, how would you suggest that we do a better job of vetting these and limiting these purchases for people who maybe shouldn't have guns?
Right. There's got to be some type of mental health exam. I honestly think that most of the school shootings have a clean background, obviously. But I think that there's a mental problem with those. No right-minded individual is going to walk into a school with an AR and shoot up 15 children. So there's something mental going on with that situation. And as much as people blame it on the gun, I do think that there is a mental problem in America that is not getting enough attention, and that's the reason we're seeing all these things. So if we can find a way to study that and learn about that and go into more detail about how we can prevent it, how we can help people, and how we can even restrict the flow of guns, but also help people, because they're just going to go to other things. There were knife attacks in China. There's been knife attacks in the United States. I think that if we can explore the mental aspect of mass carnage and that aspect of things, we're going to get a whole lot further than this gun debate.
Well, Conrad, how would you limit the purchases of guns? What would you do to kind of beef up the vetting process?
Honestly, mental health evaluations, because like Tucker said, background checks are fine, everything's fine and dandy, and there is a bit of a process to get a handgun. But there's no reason that a civilian should need an automatic weapon at all. And while I don't think that we should have an outright ban on guns per se, because that's a very broad term, assault rifles should be a no-go for any civilian. I can't think of any circumstance under which you'd need one. No hunting. The only reason that you pick up a gun is to kill, pretty much. That's why you're getting it. So we just need to stop the high-powered rifles from getting into the wrong hands.
Right.
And just a small point I can make. You said there's no reason for anyone to have an automatic rifle. Automatic rifles are already illegal in the United States. AR-15s, AR-10s, that's another thing. Most people don't understand that an AR-15 is an assault rifle, but there are many different types of assault rifles that people most often classify as AR-15s, but they are semi-automatic weapons. You have to pull the trigger for each bullet that's fired, whereas a fully automatic, you just hold the trigger down and go.
All right. Well, good points. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to still be with our guests, and we'll talk more about gun control. Stay tuned to 99.9.